Miami's going to lose a football game eventually. I don't know if it'll be this week, but it feels like it's bound to happen. That's Kenton Gibbs, Locked On ACC and Locked On Wolfpack, joining me here to pick every game in the ACC this week. Kenton, Miami's been playing with fire, and every week they say, you know what, forget this whole defense thing or getting off to hot starts. Hey, Cam Ward, can you just put up 40 points in 2 minutes in the second half? And well, it turns out he can do that a lot. I don't know how well that works out in the long run, but I tell you what, Miami hasn't lost a football game yet. What's your upset alert meter here for the Canes going to Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech?
Not very high, only because Haynes King is coming back off an injury for the first time in, I want to say, about 2 weeks or so. Zach Pyron was leading that offense, if you can call it that, with Haynes King out. However, there is a possibility because Miami's defense is a liability, to say the least. And while Cam Ward is, I call Cam Ward human plot armor, right? Every time you think, oh man, the protagonist is going to lose this time, Miami's going to lose this time, Cam Ward says, relax, I'm the writer. I'm writing the story of it. The good guy's going to win. I promise you. The you is the good guy in my version of the story. So, I mean, I really do think that they play with fire a lot. They have the longest average third down attempt distance of a team that converts at the rate that they do. So they're oftentimes counting on Cam Ward to be a hero, but Georgia Tech is in past 120th in terms of sacks created this year. This is just a bad matchup for them. I think that Miami gets it done here.
I think if Haynes King can play all 4 quarters and look the way he has in his good moments throughout this year, I think Georgia Tech can cover that number. But this Miami, it's 10.5 according to our friends at FanDuel. The Miami offense is just so good. So I'll take the Canes 42-27. Just because I don't have a lot of faith in that Miami defense, but I do think the Hurricanes go down. It might not always be easy, but Miami is like an uglier version of Indiana when it comes to covering the spread. Let's go elsewhere around the ACC here, Kenton. Let's go with Notre Dame. They're playing an ACC team, and I brought this game up next just for the fun of it. Because I knew you'd have that reaction. Florida State's going to play a football game this week. They're going to go to South Bend. I tell you what, this is one of those games where someone could make an outrageous promise to social media. I will do X if so-and-so wins this football game. And I think you could do anything and you'd be safe because I have no confidence or any inclination that there's even a remote possibility they could pull an upset and throw a wrench into things in the college football playoff. I think Notre Dame steamrolls Florida State. I like that Notre Dame defense a lot. I'll take the Irish 38. Watch this to 3.
I think that's fair. Notre Dame has one path left to the playoff, and it's not just winning out. It's winning out in style. Not only that, do you know what Florida State's high for scoring on the season is? Take a wild guess, Spencer.
I believe it's 23.
Wrong answer. Forehead is 21. I'm joking. It's a joke from the Proud family. That was said to somebody. That's not. I don't think Spencer has a normal size forehead. But with that being said,
it depends on who you compare me to, I suppose.
Absolutely. But with that being said, this team put up 21 against Georgia Tech, which was one of that's it. That's all they've done this season. Every game after that got worse and worse and worse. And they have given up. They packed it in. They're not going to come close. It's not even going to look like they pinched Notre Dame after this one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. How about Clemson at Virginia Tech? I've got my upset alert meter. Do you smell that? Do you smell what's in the air there, Ken? I tell you what, Virginia Tech isn't great, but they're not bad. And I wonder what the emotional state of that Clemson football team is after getting just pushed around, bullied, and beaten down to a pulp against Louisville last week. They got to go on the road to Blacksburg. I think Clemson finds a way to win, Kenton. No way I think they cover 6. I'll go 27-24. Clemson wins.
Shaw Tootin and Kyron Drones are back. Both were out of action last week, and that's why they could not ice the game. They could not put it away against Syracuse. Syracuse comes back and beats Virginia Tech in overtime. That Clemson team, I think they're front runners. I think they're a team that is dependent upon getting big leads and beating you down. So I'm not sure that they get a big lead and beat them down here. I got Virginia Tech specifically because it's not at night. There will be less thought of this game than it would be if you were thinking about Enter Sandman at 7:30 p.m. I got Virginia Tech being my upset of the week.
How about that? How about that? So either way, if you think we know what we're talking about, you should at the very least take Virginia Tech and the points. How about Pitt? They're back this week after getting humbled by SMU. They're not out of the ACC championship game picture. They just need a lot of help in order to get there. They play a Virginia team that's fine. I think Tony Elliott's doing a solid job this year compared to preseason expectations. I'll take Pitt in a bounce back here at home. I think the Panthers defense has a little bit of a get-right game here against the Cavaliers. I'll take Pitt 24-10.
I agree. I think Pitt wins and Pitt covers. The Sharks are going to hunt. Okay, that's what they call their linebacking core. And it's so sad the way that last week went because Pitt was a very clear case argument for the discrepancies between the Big Ten and ACC. When you think about, they may very well be the best team in Pennsylvania. Both of the Power Four teams in the state of Pennsylvania both have one loss. Both of those one losses were two one-loss teams who had only lost to undefeated teams. And yet Pitt gets no love, no respect at all. I think the Rodney Dangerfield bit is getting tired, and they deserve their respect, but they're going to whoop the wheels off Virginia in this one.
Duke at NC State. Your Wolfpack Kenton have played some better football. It's been encouraging for Dave Doran and company. I and many others are wondering, where in the heck was this football earlier in the season? Duke's a solid team, though. I like Duke in this game, even on the road, because I like Malik Murphy. I like that Duke defense a lot, and I don't know that the NC State offense is truly as good as it is shown in glimpses in the last few weeks. Give me the Blue Devils here. Again, I think a pretty low-scoring game, 24-13.
Duke has the top passing defense in the ACC, but do you want to know a fun fact about that? This is why stats can be a little deceiving.
I do. I love fun facts.
Outside of Miami, how many teams ranked in the top 45, which is the top third in terms of passing in America, do you think they played?
I bet you it's 0.
You would be correct. There we go. They haven't played a single one. Any team that can throw the ball at a decent clip, they struggle with. However, nobody disguises a defense like Manny Diaz, and they're going against an 18-year-old. I see why you were picking this as an upset, and I, too, have a feeling Duke could pull this one out. But I can't go against C.J. Bailey at the back. Give it back by 90. No, seriously. I think they pull out a close one in an ugly rock fight, 17-10.
Syracuse goes to Boston College in Chestnut Hill, where the Eagles, despite being 1-3 in conference play, are slight favorites by less than a field goal against the Orange. I go back and forth on this one. This feels like a coin flip game. It'll be really competitive. But I think Syracuse has a get-right moment here. I think Boston College has shown some nice things. Bill O'Brien's doing a solid job in his first year. The win over Florida State, most notably the highlights of this year for BC. But I think Syracuse is going to look a little bit more like the Orange of the first 5-6 weeks of the season. I know they've had their struggles in the second half of seasons in recent years, but this is a new coaching staff. I think Kyle McCord got all the interceptions out of the system that he possibly could last time out against Pitt. So give me the Orange to go in and win 38-24.
Did you just say the highlight of Boston College's season is beating a 1-8 Florida State team?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
For that purpose alone, give me the Orange. Give me Brand the Man Brown. That's no highlight to anybody. Anybody could do that. Hey, give me the Orange.
Well, I think for a program like Boston College, you beat someone with the brand power of Florida State no matter what they're doing. Hey, I know Florida State sucks. They are not far away from being a winless football team at the moment, which is crazy. Absolute craziness. And yet
it's just them extending their protest of the college football playoff.
Yeah,
that's all this is. They're extending their protest.
It's been a tough 365 days in Tallahassee. And lastly, Friday night game, ACC Network, California at Wake Forest. Most people call them the Cal Golden Bears, but just want to remind people what state they're from. They're going all the way to Winston-Salem. A 2 time zone jump here, a 3 hour time zone jump from the West Coast to the East Coast. Cal favored by 7. Vegas clearly thinks Wake Forest is not as good as Cal, despite the Bears being 0-4 in conference play. I think Cal gets their first league win of the season. No way do they cover that 7-point number, despite the glimpses that they have shown at times. They're just too inconsistent for me to pick that. So I'll go 24-20. Cal beats Wake Forest, but the Demon Deacons cover.
I got Wake Forest in this one in a very close game that, again, is a rock fight. This is the most snake-bitten team I've ever seen in terms of Cal. When they lost to NC State, it was because their kicker missed like an 18 or 25-yarder. I
think it was about a 30-yarder, 28, 30 yards or so.
That's disgusting. That's objectively like ugh. What do you kids make that kick on college game day for 50 games? And your kicker missed it. And that's his one job. Your job is to do the thing.
28-yard field goal. 28-yard field goal.
I knew it was somewhere in the 20s. I knew it. Yeah, I think this team is too snake-bitten. And I also think people are sleeping on Wake Forest. Don't get me wrong. I don't think
they're solid.
A great team. I don't think they're a great team, but I think they're going to get themselves a win in Winston-Salem here.
Kenton Gibbs, Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack as well. Kent, we appreciate the time as always, my man. Hey,
it's always great to see you, Spencer. Anytime you want me back. Again, Spencer McLaughlin has a normal-sized forehead.
I appreciate that for the audio audience out there, and I appreciate all of you listening. I'll see you next time, and until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.